But not all the time. Hopefully not a lot of days.
We're gonna minimize this.
I just put them on the motion because we have. Well, I just left. That's why it's running. Spread out, spread out.
Hey, that guy's stealing chairs. Have him arrested.
We'll have him arrested.
I said, you're stealing chairs. We'll have you arrested. Oh, we can't.
Yeah, you sometimes read somebody to do that, yeah. There's a bunch of.
Jeff, is Barry coming? Is Barry coming?
I believe he will. The only person that said they couldn't make it was Mark.
He's probably driving, so we'll distract him.
Yeah, right.
Just packing like 10 holes.
Yep, 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 I will. Yep.
All right, well, why don't we get started? I'd like to call this meeting, the Harbor Springs Planning Commission to order, 5:30. And first of all, special welcome to members of the public. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Look forward to hearing your thoughts, and you get a full chance to participate, and we'd love to get the benefit of your thoughts. Jeff, would you care to take roll?
Absolutely. Rick Tarczynski. Here. Vanessa Warren.
Here.
Emily Dubay.
Here.
Bob Tola. Here. George Pete. Here. Bill Mulder.
Here.
Mark Bidet is absent. And Barry is not here.
3 minutes out.
He's 3 minutes out.
Okay, you can go ahead.
We'll fix that later then. Al Deka. Here. And Max Bassett. Here. We have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. I'd like to make a special announcement. It's Al Dyke's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday!
It's important government business that we recognize that.
It's Jeff's birthday too.
Jeff Grimm's, Jeff Grimm's birthday too.
He's
So
gonna
you're-
try and stay under the radar with that
So you're 20 and he's 30
one.
now?
I'm 29.
All right, thanks for letting us celebrate with you tonight. This will be a real great time.
You're too young to remember.
All right, let's talk about the minutes from our last regular meeting. People had a chance to review those minutes. Any corrections to those?
I move to approve the minutes of April 21st.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's talk about the minutes for our special meeting a week later.
I move to approve the special meeting minutes of April 28th.
Second. We've got a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from our special meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, next is public comment and correspondence. And folks, the way this works is that if you have any comments or suggestions or ideas about a topic that's not on the agenda tonight, this is the time we can raise it. It's kind of free form. And you would have 3 minutes to give us some brilliant thoughts. Okay, looks like everybody's here for things on the agenda. That's great. And let's see, let's get right into new and old business then. First thing on the agenda is a site plan review for 294 East 3rd Street. Jeff, do you want to give us an intro on this? Can you tell us what the purpose of this is on the agenda and then what the possible outcomes could be?
Yeah, 294 East 3rd Street. Let me just pull up that application here so that everybody can see it. Michelle Crizel is the applicant on behalf of the owner, and this is to help identify the location. This is a condominium unit that's on the 3rd Street side of the building that the Lyric Theater is in. And Michelle is here to represent the property owner, so she can probably fill you in on what it is that they're asking.
Great. And so what is being asked of the planning commission tonight on this?
This is a site plan review. So we're reviewing this to make sure that they're complying with all of the zoning regulations and the uses within the zoning district of the central business district.
Great. And what are the possible outcomes from the planning commission on this tonight?
We would be reviewing the plan. If the plan is acceptable and the planning commission finds no fault in any of the zoning, then we would move to approve that site plan as presented. If there's any concerns that the planning commission has regarding any zoning issues, we could either put it on hold for them to modify their plan or potentially provide an alternative that might lead to a condition that could be done for approval. Does that seem appropriate, Larry?
So it could be approved, could be requested to be modified, or it could be denied.
If you feel that there's not enough information, we could deny it, ask them to come back with a modified plan or something that could be zoning.
I think we better do something on the PC.
I hope that fixed it. Sorry about that.
Okay, no. All right, we should open the public hearing, let Michelle present her request, and then we can get some public comment, and we'll close it, and we can talk. And then we'll get a committee.
So this is just a site plan review. So for this portion of this application, no public hearing is necessary.
Okay, great, no public hearing. Michelle, take it away.
So typically, do you, Mr. Nix, do you run through your review for the planning commission before I talk or after I talk? Or because I did have a chance to read your review, and many of my points are comments or clarifications to Larry's review, so it may make sense for him to.
It's the chair's prerogative. Is
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful if you just gave us an intro to what this is all about.
Sure, so this is and part of this will help clarify some of Larry's questions about this. This building has been in Harbor Springs for about 100 years, prior to my history here, which is about 30 years, but locally anyway. It was originally a Packard automobile dealership, so that the sales side was on where the Lyric is now. I believe the maintenance department is where this current condo is. Over the years, it's held many uses in that space. Boat storage, antique storage. There was a gallery there temporarily as a seasonal use. Most recently, it was like a private storage unit for someone and their collectibles, and it's been empty for a few years. It is not conditioned, it is not heated, there is no insulation. So a business would have to be seasonal to be in there as the building is now, right? So the project, this particular owner loves this building, loves the aesthetic. It's basically like an old warehouse feel if you've ever been in that. Maybe the opportunity would have been when it was the Cool House Gallery about 10 years ago. Otherwise, it's just a little building that you pass by. It's next door to Elliott and Elliott. It's got really nice character. It's a really old building. My client loves it. And one of his main goals was to keep it as similar to it is now, but create a business in the main level and a place to live in the building on the second level. And as an architect, I sort of have to walk two parallel paths, and Mr. Nix will be talking about this a little bit, but two parallel paths on a project. One is to meet the zoning ordinance, and one is to meet the requirements of the building code in Michigan. And so I've used the term live work on these drawings because it's a building code term. And this is what allows us through the building code to have this space open. Typically in commercial buildings, a lot of times you've got to separate things with firewalls and, to that nature. But in a live workspace, which has very specific requirements, you can keep one floor open to another. That being said, let me be clear, this is very much a business on the main level and a residential use on the upper level. So there's an apartment, and also we're providing 2 parking spots. On the main level, there's actually a curb cut there already with a ramp down into the building. I'm guessing that's where they brought the automobiles in 100 years ago. And the boats when they stored them in the past. Probably other people sitting here know more about what's happened in that building previous than I do. So the zoning code does talk about home occupation, and I'm just going to read that definition out loud again I'm sure you've read it, but the home occupation, according to the Harbor Springs zoning code, is an occupation or profession customarily carried out by an occupant of a dwelling unit at the dwelling unit as a secondary use, which is clearly subservient to the use of the dwelling for residential purposes. So my argument here is that this is not a home occupation, as the square footage clearly shows that the workspace on the main level is actually larger than the dwelling space on the second level. So it's not subservient or accessory or incidental. The business is taking place on the main floor. It is curious, of course, not everyone would want to live in a space that has a business being run on the first floor. But my owner he's quite unique. And he's got a lot of ideas about the things that could happen on that main floor space. Right now, his focus is a professional office space. He's talked about using it as venue space for art openings. He's asked me if I wanted to rent the space. I mean, he wants to have a local business on that main floor of the space. The other item that comes up here is that you'll notice on the main floor plan up in the right-hand corner, we're creating an entry into the space that will be shared by the business and the residential use. There is no separation between that right now because there isn't a security issue at the moment because the owner would own the business. Should he rent it out to someone else, he would deal with the security issue as he chooses. I mean, I'm not aware that the zoning code requires that we have separate entrances for separate uses. Nor am I aware that the zoning code requires any kind of physical separation between the 2 uses, besides the fact that one's on one floor and one's on the other. I also just want to note that one of the comments is that it could potentially be a loss of a storefront in the CBD. To me, this is actually us gaining one because it hasn't been one for quite some time. And currently you cannot operate a business in this building year round. It's just not feasible. You can't have water running there in the wintertime or anything like that. So really the purpose for this owner is actually, I think, achieving one of the goals of the master plan, which is to attract people to downtown to live and work. And that's exactly what he wants to do. He's going to be retiring in 2 years from his job that he travels all over to do. His home base is Harbor Springs. He wants to live here and have his second career be in this space, and basically walk downtown and go to the dinner and have that sort of vital downtown life that he chooses to have. I also want to say too, that we are showing a rooftop deck on this. That would be pending the condo association's approval. So that would not happen unless the entire because the entire building is a condo association, that would need to be approved by the condo association in addition to the planning commission. I think that's about it. I think the biggest thing is that the owner and client really want to preserve this iconic building in town, and it's going to take fire suppression and heating and cooling and, quite a bit of work to get it to the place where it can be used year round. So it's a unique vision that he has for the space, but I think it's a good one.
All right. Let me go over to Larry then. And Larry, why don't you tell us the main points that you've identified?
Certainly, and Michelle has discussed those to a certain degree from her perspective and her client's perspective. We've raised the question about there's nothing in our zoning ordinance that talks about a live, work, land use type. We allow retail businesses and professional offices and service businesses on the first level and the CBD area, which this is zoned. We also allow second level and third level residences in the central business district. Given that the office space has not been identified as to what could be there or what they're proposing to do, because the more Michelle talks, it's going to be the owner's office space, as it sounds to me, even after presentation, even though he might want to try to segregate it from the residents above. It's really an integral part of the space that he has purchased or looking to purchase. It's just all one space because upstairs and downstairs are integrated. And the way it's been designed, it's you walk in, you either go to the lower level or you go to the upper level. She's talked about the idea of a home occupation, which I also talk about in my memo, so I'm not going to review that again with you. I talk about the entry. It's the same entry for the lower level as it is for the upper level. And there's no other business or use downtown that has that kind of a situation. You enter the first level and you walk into this front door of a business. If you're going to walk into a residence, there's a separate entrance other than, and you don't have to go to my knowledge, through the business to get to the residence above. There's either a back door or there's another door next to the commercial door that allows you in. So the two uses are in fact segregated to the greatest extent possible downtown. It provides you a separate locked entry also. We also need to think about the long-term impact downtown. If this is something that you're going to consider as being something that's eligible or viable to do. After being here for 32 years, I've seen a number of requests come through where people want to live downtown. Sometimes they come to the planning commission. Most of the times they don't, because staff has informed them that no, you can't live on the first floor. You can't even pretend to live in the first floor, because what happens is that becomes a curtained off area, or you're sitting there and watching TV in the evening and people are walking downtown, and that's not the view, the situation that we want to create downtown. So we don't have people currently living in a first and second level unit in the central business district of Harbor Springs. That's not an accident, that's on purpose. Because we want, when you walk downtown, to have that vision, that feel that you're in a business area. The master plan talks about the idea of working and having boutique shops, having small scale retail shops downtown. Our zoning ordinance does allow for offices. But then again, this appears to be a personal office, in my opinion. From reading the application and also listening to Michelle this evening. So basically, I think we need to have a discussion this evening about your feelings about the use. You've heard the applicant. You've read my report based on what the applicant submitted to us. Michelle Griselle has supplemented that this evening with her presentation to us. So I leave it to you, the planning commission. My suggestion to you was, if we need more information, we should table this. If you think it's not a use that's permitted, then we should deny this evening. If you think it's something that, yeah, this is acceptable, we wouldn't mind to see this repeated downtown, then you would approve this. Planning Commission, Mr. Chair.
All right, thanks for teeing that up so well, Michelle and Larry. All right, planning commissioners. Are there any questions or thoughts after hearing all of it?
Michelle. When will he reside there? In a couple of years?
I suspect
You think?
once construction is complete, he would reside there, and that would also be coinciding with him.
And if he chose not to, he would make the necessary provisions for separate entrances and what have you, because there would be living accommodations upstairs for me.
Correct,
Okay.
although, I mean, I would be highly suspect that that would be the case. I mean, this truly seems like this is sort of he's been working hard his whole life, and this is the project he wants to invest in for his, year-round residency here.
So this is a twofer. We get another full-time resident in the future and a business place downtown, which is what we like.
Correct.
What are his plans if he can't lease out that bottom space? Because I can't see
It's not working off of Zoom. Oh, wait.
For those that are on Zoom, the computer shut down and did an automatic or update.
They having problems, they said. I just caught it on Zoom.
It should be back up in a few minutes.
They said it should be back up in a few minutes. I hope nobody can hear me.
We can.
Yeah, they can. Okay. Hmm.